Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin just around the daily candle close. In this video, we want to take a look at the smaller time frame, shorter time frame price action. Tomorrow then we're going to take a look at the daily chart again. And what I want to do in this video as well is we want to take a look at what an ending diagonal actually is. So I want to show you the textbook pattern. I want to explain to you what's happening because we are possibly dealing here with an ending diagonal from this swing low that we saw on Tuesday, and we're currently still filling in the pattern here. So it's still working on that pattern we discussed in the previous video. I want to share that with you. I want to talk I want to talk about that with you. So stay tuned. We want to talk about the price action first, and I will explain what a diagonal pattern is so you understand the ins and outs and what to look for. So first of all, the idea is that we could be here in this last extension of this third wave to the upside, which started on the 4th of November. I see this as an ABC structure because this third wave itself is part of a diagonal, but we don't want to take a look at that. I want to take a look at the C wave in that third wave. So in a diagonal pattern, all the subwaves are corrective. So also the third wave here is an ABC structure. But that's not so important right now. What is important is the subwave structure within the third wave, which is an ABC, and within the C wave specifically, because we seem to be in the C wave of that. So we have an A wave, a B wave, and then the C wave is unfolding right now. A C wave is a 5-wave pattern and can be, well, the C wave seems to be an impulse actually, but what seems to be an ending diagonal is the 5th wave of the fifth wave. Yeah, so sorry if that was slightly confusing, but we have an ABC structure. The C wave is a 5-wave move. It seems to be impulsive, and within that 5th wave we have an ending diagonal. All right, that's the thesis. So we want to zoom into that 5th wave, and that also means that this is likely the last leg up. Remember yesterday we talked about a target area between 92 and 95k. So we've reached that. I mean, I could be happy, we could all be happy, we've reached that target, but we haven't formed lower lows and lower highs yet, so we are still technically in an uptrend, right? So I don't want to say a top is in, even though my targets have been reached here between the 138% extension and the 161.8 extension. So 92 to 95k, everybody was aware of it, we've reached it today, fantastic. We've even landed in the middle of that target area. Now I've added in the last video for you the next two upside fib levels so that we have some to watch, because as I explained, I cannot rule out a direct move to 100k if there are other wild extensions as they've happened over the last few days. You know, as long as we don't break a previous swing low, there is no evidence for a top. All right, that's very important. So we don't want to prematurely get bearish here, because what I want to highlight is once we have a top, the pullback could be sharp. But until we have a top, we can still extend higher, higher, higher. It's quite bullish sentiment out there. The pullback that would be expected next, once this pattern is complete in circle 3, circle 4 should reach the support area between 74,818 and 81,500. And that could be quite a sharp pullback, all right? So it could be quite a sharp pullback. No complaints, please, if that happens, really. If you get nervous about it, then you need to think about your risk in your trades, in your portfolio. But that could be quite a bit of a pullback. And no complaints, please, if that happens, yeah? I'm telling you, it could be sharp, because if this is an ending diagonal to the upside, this here, we know that from Elliott Wave that, and I'll show you in a minute, that ending diagonals typically can lead to sharp reverses. So why do I think it's an ending diagonal? What does that actually mean? So first of all, the 5th wave is ideally a 5-wave pattern. So that's why I'm still looking for one more high. I shared with you a support area in the previous video, which briefly broke, but it's not a sustained break. So it's not a decisive break, right? We had an immediate recovery. Actually, once we arrived at that 61.8 retracement, the bulls started to turn up. In a 4th wave of a diagonal, we don't have an invalidation just because the price briefly breaks support. It's a bit deep, I have to say, in this wave 4, so I cannot rule out that maybe this microstructure is morphing. But still, it is so far a 3-wave move up, and in this 5th wave, we're looking for a 5-wave move up. Now, let's take a look at our Discord server, where we have all these patterns in Elliott Wave explained. Occasionally, I get questions about, how can you learn Elliott Wave? I always recommend the Elliott Wave Principle book by Robert Prechter, Frost and Prechter actually. You find it everywhere. You know, it is the Elliott Wave standard book, you know, that people need to read maybe more than once to really understand it. But bear in mind, you know, this isn't going to tell you everything. This is a book that's decades old. It has all the theory in there, and it's still important to read it to get the foundations and everything. But it's, you know, like every theory, it develops, right? It develops, and you have to stay on the forefront of what this, you know, technique does and how the markets are developing. And it's not just because it was defined once like it was, you know, you have to still focus on, you know, new developments and everything, which we do here on the channel. So we provide all the education as well, but still would recommend that you read that book first, okay? So on our Discord server, which you can access as silver and gold members, we have a lot of educational material in our academy. So what I want to talk about now, though, is the ending diagonal, because that's what we're dealing with. And there are some rules. So, for example, it occurs often when the previous wave has gone too fast, too far. Now, guess what? That went up quite fast, right? In the last few days into the Tuesday high. Well, it was also here wild. So yeah, I guess we can say that was the case. The subwave structure is always 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So it's a 5-wave move, but all the subwaves are ABC structures. The wave 4 often overlaps with wave 1. Guess what? We've got that actually. Wave 3 must not be the shortest wave, so that's important. Wave 3 must not be the shortest. It's not, because it's longer than wave 1, clearly. All right. Often takes the shape of a channel or a wedge pattern. Yeah, possibly. And these patterns, that's very important. Very important. These patterns indicate a dramatic reversal is going to take place into the other direction. That's why I want today in one of the signals to our gold members that be careful, you know, when this is finished, it's going to be a dramatic reversal. Now this is it. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and one more high in wave 5. I mean, that's what I'm watching for. You get this overlap and the subwaves are corrective. And this is pretty much what's probably unfolding here. That's the thesis, right? That's the idea. And it's not a nice contracting shape here necessarily. It doesn't have to be. But we're still dealing here with some kind of a possible channel maybe, even though it's not a perfect parallel price channel, roughly maybe, right? So it's something to be aware of, and that's a diagonal. But diagonals often, because the subwaves are corrective, I mean, can I rule out that this is wave 1, this wave's wave 2? No. And maybe the third wave is coming now, which is why I said I cannot rule out a direct move to 100K. But it would be wild, and it would then not really be an ending diagonal anymore. It would then shift somehow, because this would be a massively extended wave 5. But I can't rule it out. So this diagonal is really only invalidated if we break below the beginning of it, so 85K. So that's the update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Those of you who were waiting for a render video, it's been uploaded to X today. Check out our X profile. The link is in the description. I promised that in the last Bitcoin video, and I did that earlier today, so it's still up to date, I think. So check it out. It's on our X profile. Link is in the description. Please only use the official link or our official account from the website or here from the profile, because there are impersonators. Always be careful on social media. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.